Welcome everyone. Today we'll talk about business model innovations in this particular video. So exactly what is innovations is all about it. Innovation is finding up a new product, new services that is been non-existent. Often it has been noticed that people creep upon that fact that they are being faced with a problem. There are a lot of impediments in their work area, probably in their personal life. But my context is without a problem to solve, you don't have a product to offer or a service to offer. Every problem requires a solution, and every solution, if it comes from your end, it is just an innovation that you're bringing to it. So finding solution to the problem is the golden thing. So key metrics, every business, no matter what industry, what size, will have some key metrics that are used to monitor the performances. And can we enhance those metrics? Can we enhance those performance? Is the question, is the solution unfair advantage? Can be an insider information, a dream team getting an expert endorsement, existing customer, etc., as the case might be. So let us begin with the lean startup. Everything has been going on the most lean fashion, the least number of people employed, the least number of resources employed, and probably the maximum output that it can reach. So one of the major causes of startup failures is premature scaling. People often scale much higher than it has been expected out there. So that needs to be undermined. That needs to be taken into consideration. Premature scaling means that the startups has to spend money on growth altogether, hiring salesperson, leasing out offices, expensive marketing before finding the product or probably even the market fit as the case might be. So yes, the major cause of failure is premature scaling. Scaling should be done is most effective in a phased fashion. So let us focus on lean startup. What is the methodology? First and foremost thing, you should have an idea. Where do you get an idea? From any problem that has been existing. If you can solve this, come up with a solution, that is a very viable idea. Why? Once the idea is there, we need to formulate an hypothesis that has been taken care for. This hypothesis, we either need to create a minimal viable product or MVP, test that MVP, the minimal viable product, because you need to make sense of it. You are in a business to earn profit. You just cannot be rendering service or giving product at a lower end and probably causing loss to you. That becomes unviable at all to start for the startup. So once this has been adopted, once people are start getting accustomed to your services, to your product, this is where you need to learn, probably adjust and fine tune the, probably redefine the idea or the hypothesis thereby before you actually launch into the market on a larger scale, on a bigger scale. And this is what the whole journey of lean startup is all about. It from the problem to an idea, from an idea to an hypothesis, from an idea, from a hypothesis to a minimal viable product, and then probably test market it, refine it, define it, and probably fine tune the idea of the hypothesis thereby before launching into the larger market. So let's start with the method. Probably what you are looking into it, lean startup method, if you may say so. Absolutely do not waste any time or any money or any effort that is into onto the useless activity. First and foremost thing is to need to develop customers. You need to develop consumers for your product per se. And how do we go around it? By being proactive, by being agile, by being intuitive, by interacting with the customer, by understanding the requirement of the customer. So becoming an agile developer, fast, iterative, and incremental products development. Customer feedback has to be very, very seriously taking. Why? Because that will give me an idea about having the product which is with an MVP. MVP, let's say minimal viable product, one, two, three, four, final product as the case might be. Why one, two, three, four? Because we might have a prototype at the beginning, then probably we might need to change that prototype to the requirement of the customer. Then probably the prototype might be to the requirement of the customer, but not to the requirement of the manufacturer or delivery. There is a problem. So we have to come to the third aspect, third version, fourth version, fifth version, until and unless we come with a final product which is both acceptable by the internal customer, external customer, all the stakeholders, we actually go upon doing the rapid development thereby. A business model of a new venture is filled with assumption and hypothesis. Since little is known at the start, entrepreneurs should interact with customers as early as possible. If the entrepreneur assumptions of the startup business model turn out to be incorrect, and interaction with the customer should be the entrepreneurs, consider a major change, a pivot altogether. And that is what I have been trying to tell it to you. You have to preserve, you have to build, you have to ideate, you have to measure, you have to learn, and probably go again and again this thing. So, first and foremost thing, the moment you have an idea, have that trust in you, have that faith in you, build the prototype. Once you have built the prototype, probably test market it, pilot survey it, you will be arriving into a lot of versions of MVP. MVP is a minimal viable product or pricing that comes around it. Once you start measuring it, learn from it, and probably keep on preserving this thing. This pivot is a decision to change some or several part of the hypothesis, some or several part of the startup concerns for the business model. And it all comes from the experiences of being in the business, from learning from the customer per se, as the case might be. So why do we need a business model for an economy? The question remains, yes, why do we need a good business model for economy? Because manufacturing as a part, it is where we need to understand customer requirements, customer need changes over a period of time. Because the customer need changes, your product variety, volume per variant will also change automatically. So earlier, let's say, let me glorify 1950, or should I say 1850, somewhere down the corner. That was a time when industrial revolution was taking place. Why? Because we are looking for mass production and the lowest price possible. We were trying to hammer down the price as low as possible. Then probably in 1900s, early 1900s, probably 1913, 1920, this is where the craftsman came into play, wherein we are looking for a, a finished product altogether. 1955, again there was a world war and things went back to square one, and then again this industrial revolution has to be revived. This time, unlike in 1850s, things went from manual to mechanical methods of production. That was where machine came into play for mass production. From 1950s 55 to, let's say, 1980 85, when mass customization took place. From production it became customization completely on a mass scale. Now we are probably producing the product, but in different varieties of the product, maybe in different quantities, maybe in different sizes, maybe in different volumes, and so on and so forth. Post 2000, it is all about personalization, getting the personal touch, or probably regionalization as the possible cause. That is what manufacturing as a service would be going around it. And this is what has happened. Now, new pattern and strategies for business model. Allow me to give it to you. What are we talking around it? We're talking about a business model that needs to be speaking around it. Different approaches to lead your business, sustainable or digital, emerging business model and its component, following technical innovations with sustainable business model, defining unique value propositions, designing customer relationship, collaborations and competition in the age of networking, as the case might be. This is all what we are looking forward to it. Different challenges. What are we talking about it? One is D, or digital ecosystem, DIC, or digital innovation constraints, as the case might be, digital product innovations, DPI, digital business model innovation, DBMI, digital knowledge integration, DKI, IT transformation as ITT, and digital agility, DAG, and digital ambidextrity, DAM. Now, these are the challenges that comes around it. At times, ecosystems are not in right places. They are either in the nascent stage or absolutely in an ignorant state. Innovation constraint, probably people are not even having availing the basic necessities of life. So, what are you talking about? Innovations, product innovations, people have not been percolated or been exposed to the best of the experiences that modern lifestyle has been going around us. So this is all digital thing that we are talking about it. So herein, these are phases where you need to come up with your own innovations per se. Probably this is where the business model works around it. the knowledge integrations, people are not aware of it, are not educated well enough, probably do not know how to take the best of the options that is available, made available. IT transformation, digital agility, digital ambidexterity, this is what we are talking as on when on basis. Let me go with the digital era challenges as in the ecosystem. What competing with an expanding range of new rivals and non-industry rivals. We have entrants like Google and Apple. Google and Apple have actually smashed boundaries altogether. You are competing anything and everything with Google and Apple nowadays. You want to launch any product, probably they are already there. In terms of digital products, I'm talking about it, right? So working towards the convergence of a physical infrastructure, let's say transportation, or a digital infrastructure, let's say connectivity, and identify a cross industry structure. This is an ecosystem that goes around it. The cross thing about physical and digital would be phygital, something to do with transportation and connectivity. How do we go around it? What works for it? Building complementary partnership among different ecosystem, let's say business and IT, to design a new business model. How do we figure out bridging gaps between previously separated business units and ecosystem players to create a new digital value, as the case might be, improving information flows and exchanges between business ecosystem partners, and to enable a seamless experience for the customers. Absolutely. Now these are the experiences. Now you might have the product, you might have the ready, but the network is not supporting. You might have the network and the product is not ready. So see, look at the challenges that comes around it. So now what are the constraints in the digital format? First and foremost thing is ensuring IT security in the adoption and the implementation of digital technology, dealing with regulatory uncertainty and regional restrictions concerning digital innovations, resolving digital regulatory issues around automatized activities, and probably eliminating the concerns of security and safety thereby. What are we looking for? The product innovation, digital product innovation? How do we come across with it? Let's say embedding the kind of experience people have with digital technology in products. There are plentiful of products in the digital medium. Let's say Zoom is one of those products that comes around it. MS Team, Microsoft Team has a product which comes around it. Essentially the same product. It's connecting people over a virtual meetings located from different places altogether. And you name it, we can have it. Similarly, there can be a human to machine interfaces where a lot of training has been imparted. If you want to obtain a driving license today, probably you have a computer simulated training that comes around it first thing, which you need to clear. And that is what a seamless consumer experience is all about, it between a man and a machine. Embedding digital content and services into product while considering cost efficiency, but without compromising safety, without compromising security, as on the case. Now we can have a simulation based, right, before we actually work it out on a practice basis. Now this is the beauty of the digital content. We can simulate the exact scenario, probably, so there will be no loss of life, or nobody gets into the wrong places as far as human beings or any living being is concerned. Developing industry-wide technology standard that enables integrated customer services, seamless experiences to be provided, achieving breakthroughs in development, probably deployment of the key digital technologies. And this is very, very pertinent. You might have even deployed and people might not be able to access it just because the speed of the network that goes around, just because the knowledge of handling the software that goes around with it. So you need to be very, very cooperative and making the customer sensitive regarding the product availability and the services thereby, creating and capturing new values for customers from mobile sensor, real-time data streams, and so on and so forth. Let us talk about DABMI, Digital Business Model Innovation. Rethinking incumbents' roles and resource composition. How do we go across with from automotive manufacturing to a mobility service provider? Designing business models with valuable propositions through digital innovations, transforming the value creation structures to achieve greater agility for digital innovations per se, creating valuable new digital products and services that the customers are willing to pay for despite going profitable of the old model. Let's say selling cars or exchanging cars. Now we are talking about EVs or electronic vehicles. Now electronic vehicles will be having their lithium ion batteries. Now this battery can be detachable. Certain companies are making, some companies are making it a fixed battery mode. No, the idea is that this battery, the EV battery that we're talking about, needs to be charged or discarded every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, depending upon the usage. Now, this is what needs to be understood as are we willing to pay for it despite the ongoing profitability of an old model per se. Building an integrated end-to-end platform for mobility services and other unforeseen opportunities. Allow me to elaborate the digital knowledge integration. Here we need to understand and cater to the quick changing requirements of the customer. Quick expectation of the customer changes frequently and which are hugely influenced by digital technology. Acquiring, integrating critical know-how and patenting innovations every now and then, attracting new talent that is able to integrate digital technology expertise with the business know-how. We're talking about a lot of machine language that has been creating. We are talking about a lot of artificial intelligence that has been integrated into it, into the business decision making model. So therein the premises is all about it. Integrating information technology know-how and creative problem solving into R&D activities per se. Let me tell you about the information technology transformation, ITT. Now, what exactly I mean by ITT is designing a new governance, incentive structures to exploit new technologies in order to innovate consumer experiences, encourage people to develop digital mindset in order to increase the acceptance and use of digital technology in everyday work and processes. People are digitally illiterate and this should be removed. There is this anomaly which has to be removed as soon as possible, leveraging new affordance of digital technologies to improve internal communications, coordinations, rethinking the role of IT inside the organization from providing services to the business towards creating value for heterogeneous customer demand. Now, the customer can always be in touch with the consumer through his or probably her mobile, through his probably her palm top. You name it, and we can go around it. They can always have an extended help which can be extended to them probably as on when on basis as far as tech support is concerned, as far as knowledge sharing is concerned, as far as an upgraded version that has been launched, and so on and so forth. Redesigning the relationship between IT and business. As IT become an integral part of the business, of late it is the fact new leadership roles should be created, transforming legacy enterprise architecture into modular one, loosely coupled architecture that can be seamlessly connected with new digital technologies. Switching to agile methodologies in project now being very pertinent, very reflective, as on when on basis can we move and change the patterns every now and then, implementing a startup mentality that is probably fail early, trial and error, and so on and so forth. That comes around it. We need to work as on when on basis. This is what the call of the day per se. Then comes the ambidexterity. How do we go about ambidexterity? Ambidexterity is all about balancing agility. You cannot be too reflective and changing your position more often than not. Probably ambidexterity is where you need to balance the old versions and probably incorporate the new versions, basically enabling the customers to go to the transformation process slowly and steadily in a guided fashion. And that is what balancing agility is all about. It this is the digital ambidexterity has been meant to accommodate the short life cycle of digital technology. Believe me or not, things have been changing at a much faster rate than what used to change. uh, with stability to accommodate the long life cycle of traditional product innovation. Let's say for a car which is right now is using gas to travel, probably as a mode of fuel. Probably now we'll be going into a blended mode of fuel, or probably injections, where there will be a lot of biofuel which will be incorporated to the fossil fuels, and then probably this will be exactly transformed into a EVs or electronic vehicles around it. In between, there would be phases of hybrid automobile that will be in the market, and this is only facilitating a change in the attitude of the end customers of traveling via their own personal vehicle per se. So aligning new significant short-term digital technology investment with long-term strategic business planning and digital capability development in times of high uncertainty. balancing customized digital services that provide added value by leveraging customer personal data with data security, with privacy, combining digital innovations philosophy, experimental market learning with the manufacture of philosophy, planned or finished at the time of the market introduction. So yes, what are we looking into it? We are looking into five paths to digital economy. What is that? First, we need to have a digital strategy. We should be having a vision which is 10 years, 20 years down the horizon. Second would be disrupting your business altogether. Yes, discarding the traditional mode, probably going for the phygital mode, having both physical and digital presence, and why not go for the digital or the virtual mode of doing business. The third would be digiting your core business per se, if we can do around it. People are now hiving up their core business to the vendors per se and making much more profit than earlier things. Creating value from data. Data is a new gas. This is where the dollars is coming from. We can make a lot of business, lot of sense, lot of money out of just manipulating the data and curating the data as per the requirement of the business per se. And definitely, yes, we can do the fifth one being the ecosystem or the capabilities. Can we enlist in ourselves into one of them? What did McGregor said in 2019? He said about complete dominance of business model. Absolutely, business model. What was that model? Said about crowd economy. Absolutely, it's a crowd economy where there's customer, there's a business. It's a free or data economy. You are talking about hitching up the customers to your product before you monetizing them. The free economy or the data economy, the smartness economy, the closed loop economies, the decentralized autonomous organization. Absolutely, where everybody is a freelancer, every professional is a freelancer, and they will render the services for a lump of money. And probably, if you can hire them and get the services done, and probably bundle the services as a product, nothing can go wrong with it. Multiple world models and transformational economy. This has been excellently stated by McGregor in 2019. I repeat, the crowd economy, the free data economy, the smartness economy, closed loop economies, decentralized autonomous organization, multiple world models, transformation economy. So, what are we obsessed with the business model? Now, with first and foremost thing, people are obsessed with cost. God knows for what reason. The idea is to get rid of every frills and make use of economies of scale, economies of scope, economies of utilization, economies of experiences, probably other factors for the benefit of customers. Anything that does not create value for customers should be stripped out, negated. Platform. Now people are talking. This is a term that refers to a business model that's supposed to probably more markets at the same time. A conventional market attracts buyers by providing a venue that supports the presence of sellers and attracts sellers by the promise of presence of buyers, all for a specific domain of goods and services. We talk about global businesses. International growth is crucial to achieving economies of scale, attaining the mass that would be enabling the firm to develop and manage its production and logistic efficiently. Swift globalization is the key. Next is all about seeking excellence. These companies focus on innovations, surprise their customers with new features, satisfy needs which weren't even there when the product came out. Distinctive and probably adoptive features. This is very, very new, which is all about drastically lowering down the transaction cost, enabling sellers to approach any market, no matter how small it is, sometimes comprising only of a single buyer, probably as customization, almost as efficiently as a wide swath in the market per se. This needs to be taken into consideration. Now, what are the resources we are looking into it? We are going to get smarter people, smarter and sustainable resources. And looking for a long time growth, we have to build a resilience in the business format. We have to build resilience in the mind of the entrepreneur and the customers. Thereby, the power of data need not be negated at any front. In fact, you should capitalize upon it. And the lean principle of not investing high into any of the businesses, it will be only on a need to know basis. It will be as per the requirement you start growing big. Until and unless things have been promised, things have been assured of, you manage the organization in a lean principle. So yes, the resource management principles are smart, sustainable, resilience, power of data, and lean principle. With this, I come to an end of this particular presentation. I am sure you have understood exactly what has been discussed in this video. Thank you for watching the video till the very end.